Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change. Make things possible and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Good morning from California. This is Pamela Chanel David. And am I excited today to really bring you not just the Reinvented Life show, but a lot of new announcements, a lot of what we're doing here. And my partners as always, Freddy and Dawn are here to join me from the East Coast, from Florida, so we can really tell you about what's in life, what's happening with the broadcast, and where we're going to go. So welcome, Dawn and Freddy, to the Reinvented Life show.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us again. We're so excited to be talking about the expansion.
Absolutely. And that's what I think we should start with this morning. Explain to the listeners and explain to the viewers what we're doing, really putting something extremely unique in place. So from a broadcast perspective, I'll have you talk about it, but leave it to say we are embarking on an opening of a Reinvented Life Center. It will be based in San Francisco and will be a place, a gathering place for ideas, for thoughts, for reinvention, and we'll certainly be talking about the services that are going to be there. But really the centerpiece of it, and the first and foremost part of this model, will be a West Coast expansion of what you're already doing, and would love you to talk about that and what you foresee as the epicenter of what the Reinvented Life Center is going to be.
It's an exciting time because we are actually launching our Roku Amazon channels. And you're going to have the San Francisco connection. We're going to open up a new studio. You know, the Reinvented Life has different meanings in different parts of the country. You have the West Coast mentality, you have the East Coast mentality. And what I love about it, it's going to offer an opportunity to reinvent yourself, to be creative, to be different, to actually do some of the things that we do in here. Can you imagine having something like what we have here? And having it over there? I want to have her on like 5 days a week.
You know, it's really interesting, Chanel, because as podcasting is taking off, at least in Florida, everyone wants a podcast until they come into the studio. And then they want a podcast plus video, which is exactly what we've been doing for 18 years. But the verbiage of the technology has changed. So it's just meeting people, as you always say, where they are. So whereas we call it a show, other people call it a podcast with video, it's the same thing. So you're offering what everybody's looking for. It's just meeting them where they are as far as their technology and their verbiage.
Well, I love it because the Reinvented Life, the core of the word reinvent is invent. And inventing is all about creating. And that's where I think the synergy of all this starts. It is such a creative mode today out there in business. You know, no one is doing business the traditional way anymore. There's a new culture that's been created, a new energy. And following that energy, when I stepped into your studios in Florida, I stepped into an energy that was astounding. You felt it from the walls, you felt it from the people, you felt it from the art, you felt it everywhere you were. And the hotbed of creativity is really in San Francisco. So to be able to combine what you've done in such a thriving community as San Francisco, where it's the origins of the Silicon Valley, it's the origins of so many movements that help people create and recreate and reinvent their life. So I cannot wait to open this up, not only to the broadcast world, but to the residents, to the people that live here that, as you say, Dawn, want a place to go to deliver a podcast with live video.
And what I love is that because it's going to be on a multiple slate of platforms, every age group, every thought group is going to be included. You know, Roku and Amazon Fire are for the younger crowds of people who don't even watch television anymore. They don't watch regular TV. They go into the different platforms. You're going to be on there. To have Spotify, iHeart, Apple, to have all of these programs to carry the sound, because, again, people love to hear podcasts when they're working out and everything else. We're going to be able to bring that. You're going to have your social media platforms still going on there. And I even sent you a radio station that I'm talking to in San Francisco, and you know about that, to maybe get your show put on there.
Yeah. Well, you know, exposure is everything. The Reinvented Life has so, as you say, such wide appeal because for the most part, everyone, no matter what their age, what their demographic, who they are, today is in a process of reinvention. And so to be able to capture that notion and literally teach people how to do it. You know, a lot of people want to make change, they don't know where to start. And so what I love at the Reinvented Life is I've created a program, I've created stages that allow people to walk through their own reinvention. And so what better way than to broadcast that from the different modalities? Because as you say, there's no age limits to the amount that people can change. They just simply need to know how to do it and be open to embracing that change.
They have to be also accepting to the fact that they make a difference. We had the morning show, we were talking about how people are afraid to say, when I ask, are you the best? The best. And they're afraid to say yes because they don't want it to stop in growth. Reinvent, maybe I should say, have you reinvented yourself?
It is. It's the same thing. It's just changing the verbiage. It's like podcast to a show with video to audio and video. It's the same thing, right? It's just meeting people with what they understand. But best is a complicated word.
It's not complicated because you have to feel the best. You want to reinvent yourself, be the best. Because being the best means you have to be the best every day. Doesn't mean you do it Monday and that's the end of it. No, you got to reinvent and keep reinventing and that's what I love about what we're doing in San Francisco. I want to reinvent. We also have another show that's going to be opening in South America, maybe one in the UK and Spain and Italy. People are actually buying in to the reinvented life. We just have to make enough noise so that people say, I see it, I see it, I see it, I see it, I get it.
But your center's going to be a little bit different.
So, you know, Freddie, and to that point, Dawn, the difference is this. When it's the best, what I call it, and what we call it at the Reinvented Life, is are you in the truest alignment with who you are? You know, even spiritually, is your soul in alignment? What are you doing to get where you want to go? And that's really what reinvention is all about. And that's why the nature of this center, I think, is so important to, as you just said, meet people where they are. We've done an amazing job virtually, meeting people on these platforms, whether it be the show, whether it be dynamic virtual meetings, whether it be one-on-one coaching. There is a plethora with technology today of reaching people. However, I don't think we can dispel the fact that people still want human connection. They want the human touch. They want the ability to collaborate and to connect. And I think if anything's been taught over the last several years, going into the pandemic, through the pandemic, and right now where we are, which is what I would call kind of a hybrid of coming out of the pandemic, people have missed one thing so much, which is that connection. And so the center is that. The center is a place where there's going to be services offered. There's going to be place for people to go. There's going to be interesting people. We're going to have author talks. We're going to have artists there. We are going to have services, everything from mind, body, and soul related services that people can get. So it'll be a real center to go to, whatever service someone may need. There's going to be therapeutic services there. Again, mind therapy, body therapy. There's going to be, if the place we're going to get comes through, which I believe it will, there's going to be a wonderful meditation garden there. There's going to be a wonderful place for people to really explore their soul. So it'll be a gathering place, a place to connect. But again, at the center of it will be a place to broadcast from. People can come in, people can do their shows from there, both virtually and in person. And that's what I love, is that it's a place where we're going to serve people where they are so that they truly can follow this methodology and reinvent their lives.
And I like it that it's more than just a holistic center, right? It's not like you're walking into a spa. You're not walking into a healing energy space. You're walking into a space to really reinvent your life and be the best, I guess, for lack of a better word, at who you are.
And if you have something that you want to teach, something you want to display, something that you want to sell, whether you're a coach, whether you coach children, seniors. I mean, we had a senior show here yesterday. Dynamite show. I mean, dynamite. And I did a senior show 8 years, and they finally said, okay, enough. They moved on to something else. This one takes its place. And I think this is even better than that I was doing for 8 years. So it's a place where you can go, and you got to think about what you want to do, but it gives you an opportunity to do it. And that's what I love. That's right. And it's going to be where you're going to be able to do some business, some networking. You're going to have us in the corner on the East Coast. And you never know. There may be another one coming somewhere in the Central States, maybe Chicago or Texas, to help us create the umbrella, which is what I'm looking for. And this is what everybody is looking for right now, but very few people have really done it.
You know, it's funny, Chanel, I was at a party over the weekend, and I call friends from like my past life. When I was doing the mom thing and raising my kids, this group of women and families that I haven't seen since my kids were little. And a lot of the women have changed jobs. And I said to one woman, how did you go from being in health and research to running a construction company? So I knew her partner. She said, because when I met her, business is business. When you can run a business, you can run any business. If you can write grants and you know numbers and spreadsheets, business is business. And they asked me, how did you go from what you were doing to where you are? And you realize that no matter how much time passes, your mind doesn't change. You're just reinventing what your passion is, right? You're just finding where you fit. And maybe it changes, but I don't think it changes you. You changed to grow with it.
I changed my path.
You changed your path?
Yes. That's why I've had
business, right?
And that's why I've had 2,339 jobs. because I've changed my path until I get it right. And it's funny because if I could change my path over and over again, I always believe in radio, television. I believe that radio and TV should be together. And we're making proposals to South Florida oldies as well, because they should be a TV component. You are going to be a radio, television component, because it is the art of the media to be able to get your word out on the biggest platform you can do. Now, we need some friends to join us. We need networkers. We need parties. We need to see people at your studio just mulling ideas, because that's the way the entire process works.
And so many people are finding that. They look at it as changing their paths, but really what they're doing is they're just building upon what they've done. For so many people, their life has just been by default and not by design. And one of the biggest shifts that has happened, forced actually people to think about, particularly relevant over the last few years, is that they've had to think about where they want to go is what are they doing relevant to that. So when they build upon everything they've done, I've had a corporate retail career. I've had a beautiful career in broadcast. I've had a beautiful career in coaching, both business and life coaching. But all of that has led to a continual reinvention of who I am and how I'm being a contribution for. That's what people want to do. They want to take what they've done and reconstruct it, reinvent it, if you will, repurpose it, if you will, into something that's relevant for their life today. And Dawn, you described perfectly a group of people that you raised your family with, a group of women. That was all centered around the children and their activities and what they were doing. And were we being as empowering for our children at the time that we could? But this has shifted now. A lot of us have adult children now that are leading their own lives. And so how do we take all that creativity? How do we take all that knowledge that we've built in our careers and now apply it to a business that's very relevant? So whether for myself, it's having planned events for years, corporate events, consulting events, retail, it's pulling it all together into a space that people are going to want to go to because they're going to find others like themselves. And the isolation of the last few years is what people are looking to get rid of. How do they take their skills and do what they can do to make the biggest impact?
It's interesting that your timing is so perfect, because I was talking to someone, I haven't seen her in a long time, and she says, I feel as if I have no friends because I don't go out a lot anymore. We don't go out, we don't see people. She says, and then I reach out to them and I realize no one's going out a lot. So it's not as if people are ignoring anybody else. It's just what we do is different. So the fact that you're now building a center to bring people together, because I think people are thinking, at least our generation, if there's not someplace you really want to go, you're just as happy at this point staying home in your cocoon. But you're building a place to bring people out, to a garden, to a sanctuary, to yoga, to say, you know what? It's time. Here's something to reconnect, to come together and do what you used to do in a more positive way for now.
It's true. And you have the ability of being the ambassador to put this together. And that is exciting. And I was going to ask you, do you wake up and pinch yourself? Because here you go. You're about to enter a voyage. You're going to go on a journey where you're going to bring a lot of souls together. You're going to bring a lot of ideas together. Now, all of a sudden, there's no such thing as a small idea. Because once you put them together, they're going to be coming to a place. And it's like coming to work here. I say to myself, man, I go to Disney World every single day, because I never know what's going to be waiting for me in here. Sure. Wait till you get some of that and you start living that, And all of a sudden, it changes your perspective. The reinvented life, the word reinvented, is going to have a whole different meaning than what it does today.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually can already visualize myself there. You know, this is something I visualized for years, and it's really pulling together all the aspects of my own career so that I can help catapult, inspire others to do that for their own careers. Because whatever someone's passion is, when they put that passion into action, it becomes more than a dream. What people need today is access to who they can be. And so many people have lost sight of that. That's what excites me. To be able to have a place that's creative, that they can come to, as you mentioned, network. We're going to bring world-renowned people into this place. And it excites me to no end that we are going to have built in, again, at the center of it, the studios to broadcast that out everywhere. So it becomes a combination of bringing the virtual audience and the in-person audience together, which I think is so important, because the virtual audience, we know, that has allowed us to expand way beyond the dreams that maybe any of us had when we started our careers. Now we have a worldwide audience at our fingertips. But that doesn't mean that you can forget the audience in person or that connection in person either. And so people will be able to actually blend both, bring their message out virtually while having the connection, the camaraderie together.
And you're giving people a reason by bringing in authors and bringing in world-renowned speakers to say, here's your reason to get dressed and show up. It's getting them out to do something that otherwise they say, I don't know, I can be on Zoom, but sometimes if you build it, they will come. And you just have to give people the reason to get up, and get out, and go.
I just saw that your book was flashed up on the screen. And that's a commodity, along with coaching and everything else, that you can put out across all the states, everywhere. If you have a computer, it all works. If you have acknowledgement to the show being played, you can buy into all of this, and you can network all of this. All of a sudden, the game changes, because the challenge is the show. It's not no longer the destination. It's the show. It's putting it together, to saying some of the things that you do every day at a louder pitch, and watch the magic happen. Which I'm going to tell you, if you're in the business, there's no better feeling than that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what I think about is I'm not alone. You know, I'm an empty nester. I have 3 adult children that are absolutely out in the world, thriving now in their own careers. And all of the energies that went into raising them and teaching them and mentoring them can now be shared on a much greater level. And the tables often turn as we gain wisdom, as we gain what we're learning in the world. So much of the learnings come from my children now. So the ages that will be participating in this center are going to be so varied, because we have a whole generation of up and coming business leaders, along with those that are ready to restart, to reinvent, to take a look at everything they've done over the last few decades. And now, where can they constructively gear those energies to? And that's what excites me about it. It's going to be a place that has huge diversity attached to it.
And things that you never thought about. You know, there's going to be a whole new world of things that you can now try, that you can push in different angles, different things. Listen, when we came here, we didn't have one painting. We had on the wall a shower curtain.
Oh my gosh, Chanel, the biggest thing we had to decide was a refrigerator. And we thought, we're going to spend what on a refrigerator? And that's just a drop in the bucket compared to what it is. But when you're opening and you're starting a business, every little detail becomes consuming. Do you remember we sat on the phone with Gio about this silly refrigerator? Right? The silliest of things, but yet it was important at the time.
And then where to put it? Where do you put the fridge? And then how to use your space correctly. And then I didn't think anybody was going to come. I'll never forget it. We had over 100 people show up that one time that we had a Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
And I said to Dawn, I was sweaty. We were bringing in boxes. It was a Thanksgiving Day. I said, nobody's going to come on Thanksgiving Day. Oh, my goodness gracious. They came, they didn't stop coming. The artists came. They hung art on the wall. I need more walls. I need a bigger place. When I was afraid that when we first came here, this place was too big.
I'm excited to expand to California, though, because it's a similar mindset to Florida, but a little bit different. It's more holistic. It's more universal. It's a little bit more chill than South Florida, but the weather's amazing, and now we'll have coast-to-coast reaches.
That's right, and people are looking for that expansion. People are looking
It's gonna be great.
for that venue. And we have to let the world know, if you want to be part of this growth, come on in, talk to Chanel in San Francisco, or talk to her. It doesn't matter where you are anymore. Because just like you're right now in my living room here, you can be anywhere in the world, and be part of what we're doing.
Well, I would encourage you to put up on the screen my email address. Please reach out, info@thereinventedlife.com, because this, Freddie, is exactly what you're saying. It is people coming together, people becoming a part of, and Dawn, as you said earlier, really the first indicator that you're open to change is showing up. And the nice part about this is you're going to be able to show up in a friendly place, in a place that's inspiring, that is activating your creativity, that a lot of people have just kind of forgotten about. And that's what excites me about it. So the Reinvented Life Center is going to be about services. It's going to be about coaching. There's going to be therapeutic services there, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. We're going to have some amazing body services there, but it is to encompass everything in oneself. There will be healing there for those that want that. There's going to be an awesome area of which we're going to bring in speakers, an auditorium style, if you will, and a place where people can just feel that they can express them.
And on that note?
And on that note, I guess we lost our feed or her computer died.
We lost our feed,
So,
okay.
all right, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Contact Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com for more information. We'll put the information out. Very exciting to be expanding over into the West Coast. I would love to go back to San Francisco.
I've never been.
I left my heart there.
Now, did you?
Just
Now,
kidding.
we're going to have Chanel back on Friday on the Brooklyn Cafe show, so don't be late for that. And we'll finish off the conversation. And it's exciting times. Come on and join us. I think Chanel actually is the perfect person, perfect city, perfect timing to do this.
And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know you want to reinvent, and the opportunity presents itself, and you say, this opportunity's been waiting for me my whole life, and here it is.
And here we are.
All right. Have a great morning, a great afternoon. Chanel will be back on Friday, The Reinvented Life.
Don't be late.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.